Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. We're back with a daily race C from this week's current daily race at Grand Valley in Group 3, and this is a really fun combination. In this race, this was an incredible battle all the way to the end. As you can see on the start screen, we've got Killian, Olympic world champion, behind us there in P13. I'm starting from P8. We've also got Josetti right behind us there in P9, and some other really fast top split drivers right behind us there. We've got Matt Williams, one of the fastest controller players out there, also there in P10. This is going to be a really fun battle all the way to the end. Make sure you watch this one to the very end. Extremely fun racing. Brilliant races. I've enjoyed this so far this week. I'm looking forward to doing more races on this. We've also got another video that will be going live with another Olympic driver from Gran Turismo 7 that we had earlier on in the day that was really good, but I had to separate this into two videos because it would have been too long, the video, to do two races together. But yeah, watch this, enjoy it and have fun, because this was some really good racing. So into lap 1, you can see we're starting from P7. One driver, I'm not sure why he did it, was letting everyone through. Maybe he wanted to start from the back and see where he could progress to, but we're starting on the hard tyres in this race. It's a 10-lap race. It's got quite high tyre wear, however you can manage to do just the one lap on the Supra with the hard tyres and the rest of the laps on the medium if you choose to do that. Some people deciding to go a little bit longer on the hard tyre, maybe 2 laps, to give slightly fresher tyres towards the end on the medium. That is an option, but in this race I'm going to pit lap 1. That's a strategy for me because we want to jump as many people as we can. We can see Josetti right behind us there in that Ford. We've got Mitzi in front of us as well, otherwise known as Maxime, very fast driver on Gran Turismo 7. You may know him from GT Sport, really quick driver, top split driver. So this is really intense battle what we've got going on here, and you can see there having a little look in front of us into that corner. You can't really overtake into this corner. If you try and go around the outside, you just understeer because of the camber on the corner. And then yeah, this is single file through the chicane, very tricky chicane. It's all about just trying to avoid getting a penalty and getting as much exit speed as you can. You can see Josetti having a massive moment there in the rear view mirror and nearly spinning it, but just about managing to save that. So a great save there by Josetti as we're going to go into the pits this lap now. Luckily Mitzi doesn't pit and he decides to go for one extra lap on the hard tyres, and one car goes in the pits in front of us, so we're gonna have to try and get past this car as quick as possible. Maybe he was going to pit but saw the car ahead of him pitting, so decided to go for that extra lap. But we're coming out behind the Z4 now. Z4, not particularly strong car at this track, so it'll be interesting how quickly we can get past this Z4. So you can see on the straights we'll start gaining straight away on the acceleration, and then as we come in through the corners we should gain as well, because the Z4 for some reason just understeers like a boat now in this game. I don't know, they've kind of ruined the Z4. But into the braking zone, luckily for us, the Z4 just kind of gets out of the way and just lets us through, lifts off the throttle and lets me take that position, which was very generous, extremely generous of him. Didn't need to do that, but it massively helps us out there as we skip to the end of the lap. And you can see as we're going past the pits, we see we've managed to jump past them people that did the extra lap on the hard tyre, which was really important. So great news for myself. And you can see they're actually having a little bit of a battle as they've come out the pits, so that's going to help me as well as we work our way down this really fast section of track. And we're right behind, you can see there, the Mazda Vision, which is now going to have 1 lap fresher tyres than us. So it's going to be a difficult to actually overtake Brothers, because Brothers was actually doing pretty good pace during this race in that car, doing quite good pace. So we're going to have to try and get up close and try and slipstream him down the straight. But however, as we come into this corner, you can see he has a massive drift, and the right hand tyre, it just skims over the white line. This was incredibly unlucky, I have to say. And again, more evidence that I think we need a little bit more leniency and maybe a warning system for the first couple of penalties like that. Yeah, fair enough, if you go straight over a chicane, you deserve an instant penalty. But one like that, half a second like that, I think you should have 2 warnings. Third strike, you get a bigger penalty, like a 2-second. Just give people that little bit of leeway, because there wasn't much he could do there. He lost time anyway, and yeah, that's going to give me a position. You can see he's actually going to take that penalty, and the great thing about that is it actually keeps him ahead still of the other drivers. So we've got a little bit of a buffer there behind us in that Mazda Vision, which might help us out for a very short amount of time, as I just concentrate on trying to get a good smooth exit from that chicane. It's such a tricky chicane, that. And now we're going to skip through to lap 4. You can see we've still got a 2-second gap to P4 now. Mitzi there has got ahead of Brothers, and so has Josetti. And then as we come through, you can see I took a little bit off the first part of the chicane, and unfortunately for me, we have just got half a second penalty. And when we talk about them warnings, I think again there was no real gain time, but yeah, we did take slightly too much off that, and that's going to mean a penalty here. Half-second penalty is going to lose us nearly a full second, and you can see the car behind there, Mitzi, going to get very, very close, within 7 tenths of us into the braking zone. So he's going to be right in the slipstream now with 1 lap fresher tyres, which is going to be a bit frustrating. Kind of needed him to take a little bit longer to get that close to us. So this is going to become a very, very defensive race all the way to the finish, and you do not want to leave your screen during these last few laps. Brilliant stuff about to happen. But we got the lead, as you can see there, 15 seconds ahead. So we now know that we are in net P1, because them two in P1 and P2 haven't pitted yet, and they are far too close to us, so they're going to come out behind us. So we are technically in the lead of this race. So any battling from now on with the cars behind, with Josetti, with Killian, with Mitzi, it's all for the win of this race. It's going to be extremely interesting as we work our way into these final few laps. Now you can see that tyre wear starting to have a little bit of an effect on the car. You can see on the telemetry the fronts are starting to get quite worn as we work our way on this downhill section. You can see just how close this race is actually getting. You can see Josetti there in the Ford right up behind Mitzi, probably just about picking up the slipstream now, and we know how quick that Ford is in the slipstream from when we did Nordschleife. Extremely quick car on the straights, nearly untouchable on the straights, faster than the Supra as well. So that is going to be scary if that car gets anywhere near the rear of our car, because it is going to be going flying down that main straight. But you can see through here, just trying to keep it as smooth as we can, trying to get the exit speeds as quick as possible, trying to make sure that when we come out the corners, we've got as much acceleration as possible, so that in the braking zones, nobody can really go for a move into any of the corners. You can see again taking a tight line through here, getting on that power nice and early, and actually hooking that up pretty nice. Now going to the right hand side of the track just to break that slipstream briefly on the straight, just to try and get them a little bit less close for this main straight, and into the braking zone, going through the tunnel, and again into that tricky chicane. This is all about just trying to keep it smooth. It's very difficult chicane, down to first gear, then back up to second gear, and then up to third gear before we go through the exit of the second part. And you can see works out quite nice doing that. And now we're going to push our way. You can see that Mitzi behind us, for just over 3 tenths behind us, is going to be actually pretty close into the braking zone. We're going to go to the right hand side of the track here, and then we're going to do a little fake back to the left and then stick to the right, because we want to stick to the right here. We do not want to give him the inside line into the braking zone. So keeping it pretty much to the right now, and now we've got enough of a gap. You can see we don't really need to go too defensive here, because we had enough of a gap into the braking zone. Again, into turn 1, early upshift to third gear, and now look how close this is. This is getting extremely close. He's right up behind us. He's actually going to almost be pushing us here, because you can't go for an overtake really through this section at these speeds. When you're behind there, it's just too risky. It's not going to happen. Covering the inside there in the braking zone, making sure that there's no move attempted down the inside. And now we're going into this really technical section where it's all about keeping the car smooth, stopping the rear from stepping out, and just trying to keep it flowing all the way through here. So again, use a bit of the dust on the right hand side. Again, you can use the dust on the right hand side here, get the right hand tire up onto that, and then down to first, back up to second before you get on the power. And again, try and get the good exit speed, and managing to do that really well there. You can see building that gap back up to just under 3 tenths, and then into that braking zone, down to first gear, let the rotation happen through the corner, and then using second gear to power our way into this tricky right hand corner where just a little upshift to third gear, and then just be patient on that throttle until you can really nail it out of there. And again, building that gap up just enough to make sure that no move is possible in the braking zone as we go through this tunnel. And then again, trying to make sure that we get a good run through this chicane. So as we come through here, you can see down to first gear, up to second gear, and the rear has a little snap, and that gives Mitzi the ability to get really close. He actually gives us a little bump draft there, but luckily we managed to save it there, and I think he actually gave us a bump draft after that, just to make sure that obviously he didn't pass at that point. But you can see this is going to give him now a really good slipstream. He's a 10th behind. He's now got the slipstream. This is going to be incredibly close as we watch from the TV replay camera as we go over the line. Let's just see how this plays out. You can see side by side as we go down into turn 1. Brilliant racing here. Both of us brake a little bit too late, and that gives Josetti the chance to nearly go up the inside, just about hang on to the lead of this race on the outside there. Insane racing going on here now, and also Josetti right in on the action as well. And you can also see with this battling, you can actually see in the distance there Killian starting to come through in the Supra. So we've got this battle going on for P1 and obviously P2 and P3. although it doesn't say that because the top two haven't pitted yet, but we are definitely battling for the lead of this race at this point. You can see 12 seconds to the leader. That is quite a way behind us. But you can see now there, Killian coming through and ready to join this battle as well. This is going to be an intense ending to this race. Having an Olympic champion and one of the fastest drivers, Josetti, behind you, battling you while you're trying to hold on with very worn tyres. This is nerve-wracking. I tell you, I was absolutely sweating at this point on the live stream. This was really, for a daily race, this was brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. And this is why we all love Monday nights, because Monday nights is when all the top drivers come out and we have some of the best racing on the game during a Monday night racing. And then as we're coming into the braking zone, you can see there Mitzi behind us going for a little fake up the inside, but we know we don't really need to go defensive from that far ahead, so we're just keeping it smooth. And then again, trying to get a better exit this time off the chicane, which we managed to do really well, and actually get it down, get that power down really well out of the corner, and got that gap nearly up to 4/10. That might be enough to defend into the braking zone. But you can see getting closer with the slipstream, and now one of the lead drivers is in the pits, and that's going to be us promoted up to P2. You can see they're going to be well behind this battle for the win. So yeah, 11 seconds ahead. Pit lane loss is over 18 seconds, so we've got that covered. And again, into the braking zone, managing to hold off. We're going very deep again, squaring it off though. What that does is it gives you pretty good exit speed. So again, we're managing to hold on to P1. You can see Josetti pushing behind as well, right up behind Mitzi. And then you can just see in the distance there, if you look on the bottom right hand corner, you'll just see Killian's car popping in that Supra there in the distance. You can see it now as we go into the braking zone, side by side with Mitzi. Brilliant racing again as we go into the braking zone. Again, Josetti having a look up on the inside. We're on the outside going into this corner, and we just about managed to hold on to the lead of this race. Well, technically P2, but we know it's the lead of this race. And now Killian getting closer and closer. Just look at this, 4 cars all battling for the win on a daily race with some of the fastest drivers on the game. It's brilliant to be able to race with these people and to put up some kind of fight against them. I know they're quicker than us at this stage, but we are trying our hardest to defend this position with worn tyres and try and hold on. You can see managing to build up a little bit of a gap through that corner as they're fighting behind us, and now we've got that gap up to half a second. However, we have now got that Ford behind us. The Ford is incredibly good on tyre wear. I know that, and I know how quick that Ford is on the straights. It has unbelievable straight line speed. So just watch this as we're coming through here. You can see Josetti getting much better exit speed there. Entry speed into the chain. We get slightly better exit, gained a little bit, but now you're going to see the speed of this Ford. Just watch how fast this Ford is in a straight line, and this is why we say that car is probably the quickest on the straight. Just watching a slipstream now as we go to the right. It is like a rocket ship. Just look at this. Remember, we are in the Supra, one of the fastest cars in the game, and just look at the Ford just go clean past us there. However, into the braking zone, Josetti obviously didn't take into consideration that slipstream, and we're going to go back up the inside and take that P1 back from Josetti. Absolute amazing stuff on this final lap. I couldn't believe that Josetti had made that mistake there, because it's not like Josetti to do mistakes like that, and that puts us back into the lead. And now we're going to have to try and defend again all the way through this lap. So again, into this section, holding that tight line through there, and you can see the Ford doesn't look the strongest in these type of corners. It doesn't look the best when we come through to this middle section. The Ford seems to gain most of its time on the speed and acceleration zones. Again, through here, trying to keep it very, very tight to the apex, just making sure there's no opportunity to go for an overtake. You can see Josetti going for a slightly wider line to try and give himself that exit speed. We're going to go to the left-hand side, cover the inside straight away, just so that you can't think about going down the inside. Down to first gear, then back up to second gear. Get on that power again so that you can't put the car up on the inside. You can see Josetti going for that slightly wider line, but getting a little bit of understeer with the Ford. We managed to get that corner almost perfect, and now again into the next braking zone. We're pretty much covered there. We don't need to go defensive. Braking just before that 100 board, and now it's just about trying to get a good exit from the chicane. So looking behind us, will this Ford be able to get a better exit? You can see that Josetti lining that car up, throws it through the second part of the chicane. That looked very close to a penalty on that second part for Josetti in the mirror, but he's getting very, very close, just a tenth behind us. We're going to go to the right hand side of the track and try and keep it quite narrow through here. That means he has to go wider and carry more distance, and that should slow him down a little bit. And again, as we come into the finishing line, you can see we just about got enough speed to take the win in this daily race C. What an amazing battle that was. And actually Josetti picked up a penalty on that chicane. So yeah, Brilliant stuff. Held on to the win. And yeah, Killian managed to get himself into P3. That was a fun one. I enjoyed that. And hopefully you lot did as well. So if you enjoyed that race, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let me know in the comment section. Bye, everyone.